What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to make a recipe that I love into a chaffle. Come on, I'll show you how. Hey, before I get going, just a quick note. After further review, making this recipe, I cut back the coconut flour to 1 cup. It got a little too dry with what I originally called for, so be aware of that. I tried to edit it a little bit to reflect that, but yeah, 1 cup of coconut flour. So let's get started. All right, let's talk about these ingredients real fast. I've got a pound of ground sausage. Use the sausage of your choice. I've got a tablespoon of bacon powder. I've got a 1/2 cup of sour cream. I've got a cup of coconut flour. Now you can use almond flour. I like coconut flour for this recipe because it absorbs a lot more than the almond flour. It'll suck the sausage grease up a little better than the almond flour, in my opinion. In order to have any good sausage ball, you need good cheese. So I've got a cup of white cheddar. You don't have to use that. I like that. That's what I had in the refrigerator. And I've got a cup of cubed cheddar as well. I like using the cube in there because it don't get dissolved up into the mixture as much. You can tell it's in there. And 1 egg. And of course, you will need a chaffle maker. There's a link to this one, actually a review to this one as well, in the description. So there's the ingredients. The only thing left is putting it on this magic machine and creating some great sausage ball chaffles. Let's go. All right, I've cracked my egg and put it in my big old handy dandy Rubbermaid mixing bowl. And so the only thing left now is just to mix everything up. I'm going to throw the sausage in there. And this is one of those recipes that's just good to dig in with your hands. You can use a spoon or whatever and try to be all dignified about it, but hey, I'm blue collar, so I use my hands for pretty much everything. And this recipe is really a throwback to my grandmother. She made these to start with a long time ago. She started making sausage balls for Christmas, and my wife took over when my grandmother passed away, and she'd make them for my birthday. And I thought waiting on my birthday every year to get sausage balls is crazy. I want them more frequent, so here we go. And I've tried this one in different variations with almond flour and other things. And if you like spices and stuff, you can add more spices to it, make it spicier. You can add more sage to it. You can add red pepper flakes to it or whatever. So there we have our ingredients. The only thing left now is to dig in and start just mashing this up into a good old batter. So behold thy glorious sausage ball. That is a sausage ball right there, but it's not the final product. Right here you have some choices. You can break this down into smaller sausage balls, put them on a pan, throw them in your oven like you normally do. That's not the route I'm going today. So I'm using a cookie scooper to measure, and I'm going to use 3 scoops. Just a regular cookie scooper. You don't have to use this. I just want them to be kind of uniformed. And then you kind of patty them out. This is a real dry mix right now as well because the sausage is cold and everything. But once you put it in here and the cheese starts melting and the sausage starts melting, or the grease in the sausage starts getting hot, it will loosen up. So let's get these balled up and we'll get them cooking. So here they are, all divvied out. You can adjust this recipe to more or less. You can double it or cut it in half. This is my food prep for the week, so I'm going to be taking this to lunch, and I made up several of them. So let's get them cooking. So normally I spray the my chaffle maker here to keep anything from sticking, especially with eggs and things like that. The grease and stuff in the sausage will keep this from sticking, so I'm going to forego that on this time around. But yeah, it's heating up now, and usually I'll cook these things about a lot of times I'll cook the first batch for about 3 minutes because it's cooking up, but you'll have to figure it out. And if you don't have this one, if you've got the individual one or whatever, I just like this one here because it cooks 4 at once, or you can do 1 at a time. You don't have to use the dash one. You can use square ones or whatever. Just a good waffle maker. There is a link to this one, like I said, in the description. So check it out at least and see if that's something you'd be interested in. And Green light's on, that means go, and I'm just going to start placing these in here, just like this. And I've already kind of patted them out a little bit, but then we'll finish pressing down on it inside of here. And they don't have to fill up the whole thing, because I'm going to use the lid of it to kind of press down, like this right here, to get it molded. And it kind of press it out a little bit. And then we're going to go about 2-3 minutes and get it done. All right, while that's cooking up, let me remind you to like and subscribe to the channel. I'm always doing like keto, low carb stuff, and it's part of my own journey. I've lost 150 pounds, or over 150 pounds doing this kind of eating. My thing is, I like finding stuff that's simple and easy, affordable, and if I can find a recipe to substitute for something that I used to like, I'm all for it. So, hey, I appreciate it if you do that. Let's keep on going. So here's a little tip. I've got a little skewer stick, and I like just poking it inside a lot of times and just picking it up that way. I've tried other ways to take them off, and this seems to work really nice. So just poke it in there. You don't have to worry about scratching the surface of your waffle maker here. So those come out pretty good. We'll put 4 more on and run 2 more minutes. And these are not going to be perfectly round because it's not a liquidy kind of mixture, so you just kind of have to press it down, and you can see how they've turned out there. So, all right, here are our chaffles, sausage ball style. Now the only thing left to do is dig in and give them a try. Looking good, looking good. Oh yeah, taste test time, my favorite time. And I always take these things and just quarter them up until I have a nice little bite size. And like I said, the coconut flour does dry them out a little more than the almond flour, but I had an abundance of coconut flour, so I incorporated it into this recipe. Personally, I recommend the almond flour, but you know, hey, either one. And also, if you dip them in mustard, I like mustard on mine. That is a great option. Or if you have a good keto gravy recipe, you can. This is a meal. I mean, I'm not making a sandwich out of these chaffles. This is a meal. So this is going to be my breakfast at work. That's why I made so many. But hey, let's try them out and see what we think. So there it is. If you make that one little change and use 1 cup of coconut flour, you'll end up with a pretty good doggone sausage ball chaffle. And you can use almond flour as well. It don't absorb the grease as much, but give it a try. Tell me what you think. And until next time, eat you some sausage ball chaffles, and may the Lord bless you.